I hear that you're buying a house.
Um, yeah, so I'm in the process of looking for a property right now, and it's in Florida. The thing right now in the US is that the mortgage rates are crazy. There's a lot of competition. There's a lot of foreclosures going on. So trying to understand this world is like navigating the wild wild west.
What sort of house are you looking for? Are you looking for one of those mansion type houses, an apartment, or a suburb house? What are your requirements?
So this is one of the things I've noticed from housing here, Harsh. You have two options. You could get a more modest home within the scene, right? There's a lot of things to do right by the area, or you could get one of these mansion-like houses which is in the middle of nowhere. And both of these houses are typically going to be the same price. For me right now, I don't really care for the mansion like houses. I believe once I have 2 to 3 kids, that's when I want these big houses, right? And it doesn't really matter if it's in the middle of nowhere. But me at this stage, I would settle for a more modest home, right? But it's in the scene where you don't have to drive forever to find something. It's there's a mall nearby, there's a grocery store nearby. So I prefer the more modest one at this stage of my life.
Interestingly, this is something that I've kind of experienced recently in a different way. So, ever since I got married, right, my way of traveling has changed a little bit. Earlier, when I would stay somewhere, I would look for quote unquote the most authentic place to stay at. So that could be like something in the middle of nowhere, which would be like some kind of Victorian mansion, or some small hut or something with cows and shit. So it would be more connected to the place I was at. But now that I have a wife, I don't I don't stay at places like that anymore. Now I want to stay somewhere in the city. For example, if I'm visiting some hill station, I don't want to stay 20 kilometers outside the hill station. I want to stay in the hill station because then I can go out with the wife and get dinner or what have you. It's a little
Hmm.
different, right? Like when you have a wife, you don't want to be like 20 kilometers away from the city, nothing around you. You want to go in the city, explore with her, that type of thing.
Is this something that you more so want, or is it something your wife wants?
No, it's something that I want because earlier I would, for example, right, if you're a single guy, right, and it's 8 p.m., you're 20 kilometers away from a city, there's no one around you for kilometers and kilometers. You could go into the jungle and, explore and come back. But you can't do that with a woman. You will not, unless you are really dumb, you are not going to take a woman out in the jungle at 8 p.m.
Hmm.
alone. So your options are you have to explore the city, try the restaurants and things like that. So the practical difficulties of the thing just force you in that direction.
Yeah. And one of the tests that I do here, at least for searching for properties, is whenever I'm in a property, I immediately think of three hotspots. And by hotspots, I mean places that I'm going to have to go to here and there. I choose the mall, McDonald's, and a place called Ross. Even though I don't go to Ross, this is a good baseline for people in the US. If these three spots are anywhere within 15 minutes close to you, 15 to 25 minutes, let's just put it like that, then you're settling down in a place that's somewhat happening. But if these three spots are 45 minutes away from you, it's going to be so annoying, man. Because in Florida right now, a lot of people are moving in. So they're building a lot of these things known as new construction homes. And to build these new construction homes within 6 to 8 months, they're buying out a bunch of land in the middle of nowhere and building the houses there. So they try to lure you in. They'll say, well, we'll cover your closing costs, we'll give you low interest rates, and these houses are brand new. The only thing that people don't consider is that you're somewhat living in the middle of nowhere. So that's a question people should ask. Would you settle for a mansion if it's in the middle of nowhere? Or would you prefer something that's more modest that's in the scene?
I have a question.
Yes.
Let's say you live in the middle of nowhere in the US. Does that not affect the reselling price of the location?
Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. You have to hold onto the property for at least 5 to 6 years to really get your money's worth. Now, the thing with a lot of these middle of nowhere houses is that they're still investing in it. So right now, it's the middle of nowhere, but 5 to 6 years from now, there's going to be a huge community, and that's when the houses are going to appreciate in value. So you got to wait it out. I mean, the hardest thing is to be a pioneer in these places because you're one of the first people that's living here. There's no communities really being built. But 5 to 7 years from now, it's going to be a huge community. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be malls, Ross's, McDonald's within this area.
Interestingly, we're seeing the opposite effect in India, and I'll tell
Mhm.
you why. Even though India has a huge population, right? The population of India is a bit, it's falling. First of all, the population is starting to fall a little bit. And secondly, people tend to move towards the cities. So let's say you buy a house in the middle of nowhere. What ends up happening is that the population in that area will keep decreasing. Like it's not going to increase. It's not like a new community is going to show up. What tends to happen is that the guys who live in the middle of nowhere will move to the outskirts of this nearest city, and then the nearest city is going to expand in size. So
Mm.
Indian villages are becoming emptier day by day, to the point where I've been in villages where literally there are no young people, like just older people, because all the young people work in the nearby city, they stay in the nearby city, and they come visit every once in a while.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone dreams of moving to a village. But the flip side is true, where a lot of people in the villages dream to move to a city.
I would say that a lot of these people from villages, they would rather stay in the village if they could. It's just that there's not enough income and work there, because most of these guys, right, who move from villages to a city to work, they don't live good lives in the city, right? They have like 3 hour long commutes, and they do like menial work in the city, or it's like it's a shit life, but it pays more, if that kind of makes sense. Think of it like, some guy coming from Mexico to the USA, and doing some kind of petrol pump job. The guy
Hmm.
isn't like living a great life in the USA, but it pays more. If it was up to him, he would prefer living in his hometown if he could get paid the same amount.
Right. So in these villages, do they ever build more construction and try to lure people there? Like, hey, you'll get a brand new home for a cheaper interest rate.
So there isn't some kind of centralized government for the village, right? So there's no one who can do stuff like that, where you get a home for free and sure. That does not happen. People
Hmm.
will try to build their own home or expand their home if they want to, but typically the richer people will move to the city. They'll move to the
Okay.
good part of the city, and the poor people will move to the outskirts and try to earn an income. It's one of those things, right? Where if you ask any proper man where they want to live, they would want to live somewhere in nature. That includes villages. The only problem is that villages are fucking dumb. So you don't actually want to live among the people. If that kind of makes sense. So the rich village people, right? They're trying to get out of the village. All these villages are dumbasses. I want to get out of here. So they
Hmm.
move to the city, and all the dumbass village people, they're like, there's no income in the village. I want to move out to the city so I can make some more money.
And in the city, what is it like? Is it mainly apartments, or do you guys also have suburbs there?
We have suburbs there, but the suburbs are also apartments.
Do you live in an apartment, like a big apartment?
Oh, yeah, I have many apartments.
But where you currently stay, wasn't it a house?
An apartment is a house.
Okay, so we view it differently. We view apartments as compartments within a piece of land, and a house, there's townhouses and single family houses. Do you guys use vocabulary like that, or is it different?
No, a house means a place you stay at, right? Like going to my house.
Okay, so we do it actually very different here, where apartments are like these big plots of land, and then you have apartment one, apartment two, apartment three. A bunch of people are sharing that plot of land. Where a single family home, you own that plot of land. There's no other people that are like, anywhere near you. You have a front yard, a backyard. So, house and apartment here are radically different things.
Ah, okay, okay. I see what you mean. Now you're talking about the mansion type shit, right? Where it's like an
It doesn't even have to be
independent
a mansion.
house.
Hmm. It doesn't even have to be a mansion. It could be a 3 bedroom, 2 bathrooms, two parking garage with a front yard, backyard. That's a single family home.
Yeah, I get you. I get you. I know what you're talking about. It's called an independent house here, not just a house.
Hmm.
I personally don't like the independent house thing because it's too much of a hassle. If something breaks, you have to fix everything. So what I did was I bought like a bunch of apartments and I just connected them. So it's bigger than most independent houses. That's why I have all of these things in my house, like a gym and library and everything. The idea is, okay, buy like a few connected apartments and then break down the wall between them.
So you broke down the walls.
Yeah, we broke down the walls.
I see. Okay. And are there other people that you don't know that lives within that complex with the wall?
Oh yeah, quite a few.
Okay, gotcha. When you were saying you were living in a mansion before, for some reason I thought of the single family style, but what you're saying, it's a different kind of mansion as well.
See, India is a very congested country. In the cities here, it's very rare to find those big houses with backyards and everything.
Hmm. Where
And
here, yeah, for here, Harsh, for a while, that was known as the American dream, where you work your way up. Eventually, you get a single family home, and then you made it, right? But as of late, due to the housing market just being so volatile, it's different. Where there is a group of people nowadays that are saying you should rent, not buy. Like this movement is growing stronger and stronger. They come with numbers and math on their side. Then there's another group that's like, screw single family homes. If anything breaks, you have to fix it. Go with townhomes. Now, townhomes are a middle ground between apartments and single family homes, where it kind of feels like a single family home, but you're sharing a wall with someone else. These are the houses that are really connected. There's not much spacing. They have a thing called
ah,
HOA,
I've
homeowner
seen pictures of
association.
that. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So if something breaks, the HOA is responsible for often fixing it, and they'll cut your lawn. You don't have to worry about that. If you live in a snowy area, they'll be responsible for keeping the snow off the roads. So a lot of people nowadays are saying, no, go with townhomes, forget single family homes. But still, man, the single family homes have a huge market because it's the American dream.
So which one are you looking for? Apartment, single family home, or a townhome?
I currently am looking for single family homes. That's my preference, but I would be open to a good townhome. So the thing, Harsh, is that you could get a really nice townhome for $325,000 here, but you would get like a very bad single family house for $325,000. It's really a pride thing. For a lot of people, if you ask them, why don't you just choose a townhome instead of a single family home? They'll be like, what? Nah, man. I mean, I need a single family home. So a lot of people can't justify their position because it's just the dream, they just want the single family home. I want it just because I want a front yard and a backyard as well, and I don't like to share too much. Like in townhomes, you have to, like, I don't know, be too close to your neighbors. I don't want any of that.